So are you or somebody you know very intellectually based? Are they constantly searching for answers in various books and love to learn? Are they kind of addicted to technology? Are they really analytical, detached, and private? Then they may be a type 5 on the Enneagram, the thinker or investigator. Now, type 5s are the obvious head type, meaning that they're the first head type in the start of the head types on the Enneagram. So it goes 5, 6, and 7 are the heads. So as 5s, they're the obvious head. They look the most like a thinker, like a head type. There's a theme that goes on with all of the head types, and it's fear. All of them are rooted in fear, none more than the 6, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But to control their constant anxiety, 5s have taken up information as their source of safety. It's their safety net. It's their protection against the world. So instead of gaining muscle or doing or getting a gun or something like that to protect themselves, they arm themselves with all this knowledge that may or may not be of use someday. That's how they channel themselves and they go about protecting themselves in the world. Now, 5s are very quiet. A lot of 5s are quiet. And as I said, I'm a 4, so I'm also a 5 and a 3 because you have wings on each side. The middle number, the number you are on each side, you have 2 wings. And I really identify with the 5 side of me. And so as a kid, I was always quiet, and people would always notice it. They would comment on it. They would say things like, "Why are you so quiet?" And I never really quite understood why, but from learning the Enneagram, I realized what I was doing when I was being quiet. And what I was doing is just gathering information about people. I was observing, I was taking in information. They love taking in information. They love to watch. They love to just watch people interact. They love to people watch and just see how the people work and try to understand people. They're kind of like little computers. They just download information and save it into their internal hard drive, and then later use that to come up with theories about the way the world works. And that's why 5s make very good philosophers and professors. Without connecting to that 4-wing, 5s kind of get into an absent-minded professor kind of state where they're all over the place and they have thoughts racing and they overthink and they're nervous and they're scared to do things. 5s, if you want to know what if you want to define a 5, 5s are the standing back. They are not comfortable getting out of their comfort zone. They don't want to try anything that they're not really comfortable with. They're overthinking, they're fearful, they've read something online so they can't, jump into the lake with you or whatever the case may be. 5s are very cautious. They don't grab life by the horns. They sit back and allow life to pass them by. 5s love to be stingy with their information, so often 5s will not talk about themselves. They just want to talk about you and know what you're doing, and they have that kind of air of mystery to them to some people because they don't talk about themselves so much. They kind of just they want to know everything about you so they can learn, so they can download that information and internalize it and make a snap judgment about you, which can get them into a lot of trouble because they're too fast from doing that, and they don't give people enough time to reveal their full selves to them, So 5s are all about conserving energy. Anything that takes up too much energy or too much brain power, they avoid. They don't go into a lot of social interactions because that takes up a lot of space in their brains, and they are introverts naturally. 4s and 5s are both introverts. They have a tendency to be hermits, and what you'll see with the 4 and with the 5 is that they need a space sometimes, a man cave or a studio, a place where they can be alone and think and be quiet and shut the whole world out. To me, it's this room, my office, my space where I can just sit down and work on stuff and zone out, because the rest of the time I'm just thinking. If I'm not doing something creative or learning something, I'm out. I'm not here. I'm out to lunch. I'm thinking about the next thing that comes up or what I need to do tomorrow or how I'm going to do this when it comes. That is how 5s behave. So 5s are, they're excellent learners. They're math whizzes. They're good at, anything that's intellectually heavy. They're rocket scientists and entrepreneurs. Elon Musk is a 5, as you may have guessed. Elon Musk is actually the poster boy for fives. That is such a five. So antisocial and, not good in fives are not very good in social settings. They're awkward. And sometimes when they get tired of hearing about you and they want to talk, they then start talking, and it's like, who is this person? A minute ago they were quiet and now they're giving me their entire life story. What's going on? And it's because they're having an internal dialogue while you're just there, subjective to it. And then sometimes you're just like, okay, I understand, I got it. All right, I got it. That's cool, bro. Damn, and you'll just be sitting there, damn, that's crazy for 85 minutes. Damn, bro, yeah, that's crazy, man. Damn, that's crazy. They're those type of people. They just go on and on and on and talk about whatever they want to talk about, and you're subjected to it, and you have to sit there and listen to it. So the sin for five is greed. And it's not greed with money or anything like that. It's greed from an information perspective. They can't stop taking in information and data and logic. They love to think logically. They will champion thinking logically, and quite in a wrong way, because the world is not just logistical. You often hear a lot of people nowadays say facts are not feelings, or facts don't care about your feelings. Those are all five type individual, 5, 6, or 7s probably. They're logistical thinkers, and facts don't care about your feelings. But the fact is, we live in a world that is deeply emotional and deeply logistical. So you can't just champion one over the other. The world is both, and you have to take both of them into consideration. And 2s and 5s can get trapped in that, because 2s are overly emotional. They're the opposite of 5s, and 5s are detached. That's a word to describe 5s too, is detached. 2s and 5s are the opposite, and usually a 5-man will match with a 2-woman, and it's because the 2 is the giver and the 5 is the taker, the greedy taker, the emotional taker, the emotional vampire. So yeah, 5s are the compulsive takers, 2 are the compulsive givers, and they're detached. They're not connected to their emotions. Like I said in the 4 video, it's very hard to be a 5 and jump to your 4 wing. So one of the reasons that 5s gather information too, to not just calm their anxiety, but they often feel a bit empty inside, like they're missing something. And so they're looking around for, what are they missing? What are they missing? Maybe it's here, maybe it's here, maybe it's here. They're constantly on a journey of self-discovery, and constantly on a journey to discover what is really going on with people. The 5s are minimalists. They like minimal things. They would be very attracted to Zen Buddhism, the minimal, the relaxing, meditative, sit with your own thoughts, have nothing, don't be attached to the worldly possessions. These are all things that 5s are in love with, and that they really like. They're not attached really to anything, and they could do without physical touch or intimacy as much as the rest of us also. 5s are not really hands-on people. They're not really affectionate unless they can connect with that 4 wing, and that's their emotions. They kind of put their emotions on the back burner and just think their way through their emotions and rationalize their emotions. 5s get really uncomfortable when somebody happens to be emotional near them, or when somebody's expressing a lot of excitement, or they're comfortable with themselves, and so they're being goofy or something like that, or they're being philosophical like this. 5s get very uncomfortable with that for some reason, just because it is an expression of their emotions, and they don't do well with expression of the emotions. So the benefit to being a 5 is objectivity, being able to step back, remove yourself, detach yourself from the situation and look at it from a different perspective. Being able to learn and take in that much information really makes them really good mathematicians, professors, and science teachers, and people who just have a lot of wisdom to give and pass down to people. They're very stingy with money too, oddly enough. But when a 5 starts to grow, they realize that what goes around comes around, and that giving is more fulfilling and touches them emotionally in a way that they can't really understand, and that These things are transient, meaning they'll come into your life, they'll come out of your life. Sometimes you'll be making more money, sometimes you'll be making less money. It just goes kind of up and down in life, and you never really know what you're going to get. But when a 5 is doing good, they'll realize that. They'll be in abundance. They'll be able to spend money and do things like go on trips and not feel guilty that they're breaking the bank. They'll go to experience things and connect with that 4 wing and really get into that artistic sense where they can appreciate art and appreciate beauty and, you know, see things through that way. So another gift that they could have would be precociousness, which is like inquisitive thinking. If you have like a precocious child, they are really into studying the world around them and sharing it with people they love. So studying and sharing is precociousness. So that's also one of their gifts. And detachment can also be one of their faults. Even though detachment can be a good thing for 6s, it can also be a really bad thing because they may not be able to connect that well with their partners on an emotional level. And emotions may just fly by over their head and they might not even realize what they're doing. Their partners might need them to be there and they can't emotionally make that jump. You know, I think a lot of 5s are on the autistic spectrum. Don't put too much to that, because that's my own, you know, just observing, you know, Elon Musk with the Asperger syndrome and things like that. You know, they get very 5, they have very 5 energies where they love to be inquisitive about things, and they usually fixate on one thing and obsess about it and look at everything like, you know, study it from top to bottom. 5s are in the masculine energy. They are the magician archetype, just like the 4. They are in the masculine side of things, the logical masculine side of things, even in a woman. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, being a 5 is masculine. So I like to do superhero or movie characters. Listen, I'm gonna do superheroes this time, and 5s are the guy in the chair. Every single guy in the chair, that's a 5. Just whoever Ned Leeds, you know, whoever Alfred, you know, all these people, those are 5s. You know, the behind the scenes guy, the brains of the whole superhero body of work, and they represent themselves like that in the workplace too, where they'll be the brains of the operation while other people are maybe the arm or the leg or the, you know, the center heart of the company. They'll be the brain and the objective thinking, let's look at it this way, let's detach ourselves and let's look at it that way. They're those kind of people. So, you know, somebody who's a 5, who's a quintessential 5 is Ben Shapiro. Now, if you look at Ben Shapiro, it's hard to imagine that there's an emotional, romantic, deep person inside there, but there is. In all 5s there is. And Ben Shapiro, I would say, is a 5 connected to a 6 wing, the loyalist, and we'll get into that in the next video. But somebody who's connected to a 5 that's connected to their 4 wing would be Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is a 5, and he's a 5 all the way. You can tell in his interviews, he just knows all these facts about everything. I mean, he'll talk about, you know, game and the universe and stuff. He loves to just take in information and learn, but he also has the artistic side, that creative side, in his stand-up comedy. And so and then he has that political side, which is the loyalist, which is the 6, and we'll get into that later. But that is Joe Rogan. These are the type of people who represent 5s in my eyes. So I'm just trying to make it a little bit easier to understand. On social media, 5s are always observing everything. They rarely will post on Instagram or any type of social media. 5s will not post on social media. They may not even have a social media, but if they do have a social media, they won't post for years and years and years. But you know what's funny is every time you post a story, there they are. You see them. They're watching you. Because that's what they do. They just take in information. They want to know everything. They don't want you to know anything about their life. They just want to take in what you're doing. They don't post for a very long time, and then, you know, out of the blue, they're liking your post, and you're like, I didn't even know you were still on whatever, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I didn't even know you were on there. Yet you're liking my stuff. So that is a 5 on social media. They don't post anything. They just watch and they observe, and they act like social media is a zoo, and they're just watching all the animals just kind of go along and not really realizing that they themselves are one of the animals at the zoo and somebody else is watching them. You know? I'm guilty of it. I'm part 5. I'm a 4 with a 5 wings, so I'm guilty of going on hiatus for a very long time. I'm guilty of just looking at everything and not really posting, and you know, that's me. So I'm right there with you 5s. So yeah, so that's the Enneagram 5. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I'll be making more videos. I'm just trying out this video style. I don't know if I'll keep it yet. I did make a long form kind of video that was all just edited and about philosophy that I'll go back to too. I'm gonna make both of these kind of videos, but I really just got really busy and I thought it would be easier to make this type of video and just batch edit it, batch render it, put 10 videos up at once and just watch it go and see what happens, you know. So yeah, that's what we're doing. And if you're watching on Instagram, there's going to be a link at the top. Just click that link. If you want to see the full video, if you want to get more information on this, comment down below what you think your number is. Comment what you think mine is if you haven't seen the other videos. And see you later.